But this just kind of came out. He wasn't planning to say that at all.
I
He had not even thought about
never
it.
even thought of that before.
So you didn't know what the Willie Project was?
Yeah.
I didn't have a clue.
President Kitchen
I
even
sat down
asked
and
you.
President Kitchen leaned over. He said, "What in the world is the Willie Project?" I said, "I don't know."
Well,
The Holy Ghost did, but
And
we
he,
didn't.
and he said, "You just asked 2,800 people to pray about something and you don't know what it is?" I said, "I don't have a clue."
So-
But it was a hard time. Everybody in the stake was praying about the Willie Project, and nobody knew what it was. Nobody.
you obviously knew it had to do with
Rock Creek.
the Rock Creek and the Willie Company.
Yeah, but why?
Well,
But other than that,
He didn't know.
and we as a stake, not knowing what it was, we interpreted it that we were supposed to buy Rock Creek.
That's logical.
And we sent the Roundies down to Salt Lake as a couple to work in the family history department. And when they came back, they had these things that we'd never seen before. They were CD-ROMs. We didn't know what they were. And they told us that on these CD-ROMs, they gave each one of us one, they told us that our family history that was in the church was on there. And then they gave us a paper printout of what was on, and we were just dumbfounded. President Kitchen and I had no idea what that all was. We were used to the old sheets and all that, and President McKinnon knew what it was. He was in education, and so he knew what a CD-ROM was. And he just, as possessed is the wrong word, but as preoccupied as I was with the Willie Company, he all of a sudden became that way with the computers. We had to have these computers. We didn't need one, we needed two. One for Riverton and one for Lander. And so he asked me if he could take that on to get those for our stake. And I said, "Well, what do we need them for?" I said, "There's only one lady in our stake, Sister Page, who's really doing family history. But why do we need these computers?" And he said, "I don't know, but we got to have them. Can I take this on?" I said, "Sure, go right ahead." So we started writing letters to Salt Lake asking for these computers, and we would get these letters back that said, you can't have them. And I think there was 5 letters that went back and forth. And President Mack finally just was frustrated, and he said, "I'm taking the day off of work tomorrow, and I'm going to Salt Lake." And he said, "I'm not coming back until we get those computers." And if I would have been the one that was going down there, I'd have gone to family history. But he went to church purchasing, which is weird.
to me that's a little random.
That's weird. But that's where he went, and he found a guy by the name of Alan Reddish, who was a purchasing agent for the church. And he said, "We've got to have these computers, and I'm not leaving until we get them. And what's Brother Reddish supposed to do?" He said, "Okay." And he typed up a purchase order, printed it out, gave President McKinnon a copy, and the President came home, came to presidency meeting and said, "We're going to get the computers, 2 of them, and here's the purchase orders." Well, the next week we got a letter in the mail that said, "Dear brethren, someone has made a mistake. They ordered your stake 2 computers. There are only 5 of these in the church. They're all on the Wasatch Front. It's being beta tested, and you cannot have them." So I went to the presidency meeting with that, and President McKinnon was really down because he thought we were going to get them. Well, the following week I called President and said, "You need to come over to my house." And he said, "What for?" I said, "Just come over." And this whole room was full of boxes.
We didn't have much furniture in those days anyway, but it filled up the whole
2
This whole
CPUs,
section
2
of the room.
monitors, 2 printers,
paper.
10 boxes of paper for each, all the CD-ROMs, everything. 2 complete systems with 20 boxes of paper. And President was just like a little kid. He's dancing around. And I still didn't know why we needed them. But I thought, hey, we got 2 computers. What the heck? This is great. So we loaded them up in my car on Sunday, and we took them over to Lander. And the three of us were sitting in the old seminary building, fooling around with these computers, and we were smart enough to know how to put in our names and see what and stick in and out the CDs and all that. And President McKinnon is starting to feel guilty. Because the church, I mean, you know, they probably spent $10,000 on us for those two computers. They weren't cheap like they are today. I mean, they were expensive. And he was sitting over there on the side of my car, and he was just talking to himself. He said, you know, why was I so pushed? Why wouldn't I let this go? Why wouldn't we listen? You know, why did we do this? And when he was doing that in a form of communication I'd never before experienced, but in this communication, I knew why. And I just said, President, it's the Willie people. And he said, what in the world made you think of them? I said, I don't know, but their temple work's not done. And he said, that's impossible. And I said, I know. Intellectually, I know that. But spiritually, I know it's not. So then we finished up there and we came over here, and President went down to we were both in the family history library, and he's putting together the computer. And he said, you know, we don't know these people, you know, we don't know any of their names. I said, I know we don't, I don't know any Willie names, you know, I don't know who they are. And he said, well, we got to find one of their names. So I'm down in the stake president's office, rummaging through all the old files, and I find a picture of that. So I run down to the Family History Center. So I run down with the picture, and President's got the computer together, and he says, give me a name. And I really can't explain the name I gave him. It's not the first one on the list, and it's not the last one. But I said, look up James Kirkwood. Types it in, and I'll never be able to explain the feeling that came over both of us when that screen showed no temple work. This boy, we didn't know who he was. And
the plaque just said how old he was.
It just said James. And I said, President, if all these prayers for the last 4 years have been for this one boy, it's all worth it. And he climbed back in the chair, and he said, I agree. Give me another name.